Hi, all. Today we continue our devotional look through Psalm 34. So, if you would pause this video, read through the 20 or so verses there in Psalm 34. And when you get those read, join us and we will have a devotional thought for us today. Today, I want to focus on 3 verses from Psalm 34 as I hope that you can be encouraged by the message that they speak to us today. Today we look at Psalm 34 verses 4, 6, and 8. Kind of an interesting selection, but the verses communicate a beautiful message to us today. Psalm 34 verse 4 says, "I prayed to the Lord, and he answered me. He freed me from all of my fears." Verse 6 says, "In desperation I prayed, and the Lord listened. He saved me from all of my troubles." And verse 8, "Taste and see, dear friends, that the Lord is good. Oh, the joys of those who take refuge in our God." I prayed, God answered me, and he freed me from fear, verse 4. I prayed, and God listened, and he saved me from my trouble, verse 6. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Take refuge in him today. My mind is just drawn to the words of these psalms, these verses saying, I prayed, God answered. I prayed, God answered. Sometimes in church, though, church circles, we can talk a lot about the value of prayer and the power of prayer. But then for some reason, when the rubber meets the road, we neglect prayer in our daily lives. Why do we do this? Friends, I'm afraid that for many of us, while we may understand prayer in our minds, we may understand it conceptually, we've not embraced it and we've not experienced the goodness of God in our hearts. But friends, simple message for today is that our prayers enable us to taste and see the goodness of God. Our prayers enable us to taste and see the goodness of God. Our prayers prepare our hearts. Our prayers open our eyes. Our prayers move God's heart and prepare our mind for the things that God wants to do in our lives, for the things that God has had for us all along. Our prayers enable us to taste and see the goodness of the Lord. So questions for us today. What are my greatest fears right now? What troubles me? What steals my joy and robs me of my sleep? What is my greatest cause of anxiety? I found during this season of our lives that these things that stress me out and these things that are burdening me, I have a tendency to talk about them a lot. And I think that's our natural human response. We talk about these things that burden us, and sometimes we yell about them, and sometimes we try to physically fix them to no avail, right? But if these troubles and if these anxieties and if these stresses are plaguing you this week, I have a question that I want you to honestly answer. Have I prayed about these burdens as much as I've talked about them? It's my natural human response to try to talk about them and fix them. But have I prayed about them as much as I've talked about them? Sometimes when we allow ourselves to spend some time in prayer, it makes all the difference in the world. Spend some time in prayer, lifting these burdens before our loving, kind, gracious, and present Heavenly Father today. Friends, it's my prayer that truly you will be able to see that our prayers enable us to taste and see the goodness of the Lord. Friends, we're praying with you today. Praying for these things that burden you. Praying for these things that bring anxiety. And praying that you can spend time in prayer. And in so doing, taste and see the goodness of God today. We love you. We're praying for you. If you need anything, please let us know. We are here for you. We'd love to reach out and help you. Love to talk to you. Talk to you soon. See you soon. Love you, friends.